All right, well, tonight we've got the pleasure of Jeff Gill presenting from Mythica. We've managed to do some forward planning, and each of us has three lovely brews ahead of us, as well as some special treats, which Jeff will talk about, which were also in the package. So handing over to Jeff.
Right then. Is it coming through now? Can everybody hear me?
Yep.
Yep. Cool.
We can hear you.
Okay then. I guess we should just for those people that don't know, start off with who is Mythica. I do most of the work, about 75% of it, but I do have a good hand in my partner Leah, who's going to stick her head into the virtual background. She helps out in the brewing and running the tap room, and she has a real job as well. Yeah, she's pretty busy.
Yeah, I do a lot of the cleaning actually, the tap room and in the brewery. I even do the mash tun.
Well, yeah, as everybody knows, brewing's just cleaning.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so other than Leah and myself, you probably know Kerry Templeton, who has been a club member for quite a few years, but who has moved down to Nelson to become the new hop breeder and take over Ron Beatson. So obviously with moving down to Nelson, we don't see him too often these days. So he's sort of a very minor shareholder. He comes up and helps us out for minor events. So yeah, that's who we are. Why are we called Mythica? Well, sort of into mythology, so Greek and Norse mythology. And it's also quite useful in that there are a lot of gods out there, so we're not going to run out of beer names. And we were going to be called Mythic, but there were quite a few breweries already called that, so we chucked an A on the end, and it sounds just like my favourite band, Metallica, as well. So yeah, so that's the reason behind that. So yeah, I guess we can start on the just a little bit on the brewery. So we're based out at Wairau Valley. We have a 350 litre system. We have a tap room on site that's fully licensed, and we mainly sell 90 to 95% of our beer directly through the tap room. With that size, you need to even come close to trying to make a living, but obviously we need to scale up to really make a decent living. Let's start with the first beer, the Kernis Sour Cherry Saison. Have a good plug of it. So many people don't like saisons, and I was thinking probably the main reason for that is because of the esters in them. Well, one of the reasons, and probably because they're missing hops as well. I thought to make them a little bit more approachable and to have more people drink them, I've decided to fruit this one. So using sour cherry saisons. A good saison should be very dry. So we fermented it pretty much everything out. So finished off at a gravity of 1.004. And personally, I quite like saisons stronger. So yeah, this one's quite high up there in the alcohol, and we also wanted to package it in a can, and these days you may as well have it up there at a stronger percentage as well. The sour cherries aren't actually real sour cherries. It's cherry puree from Germany. So whatever sour cherry cultivar that they use there. But as you can tell, it's got a fairly prominent cherry flavour, but could be more possibly. Yeah. But I didn't want it to be over dominating the size on itself, so I think it's probably fairly well balanced. And so yeah, that's
So, what form were the cherries in?
that was puree. So that way I don't have to remove all the pips, which would be as a right pain in the ass. So yeah, just a big aseptic bottle of puree.
And why from Germany rather than sourcing from New Zealand?
Because you can't really buy the stuff here, believe it or not.
Okay.
You think we have plenty of cherries, so yeah. But yeah, well, either that or it'd just be too expensive. So yeah, one of the two. But yeah, most of the berry fruit, cherries, mango, of course, and everything like that, they're all imported. Most of it. It's only sort of the standard fruit that we eat, like kiwi fruit and apples and stuff like that, where you can get puree really in New Zealand.
Yeah, and they're different. We produce a lot of cherries, but we don't produce sour cherries. There's only 3 producers of sour cherries in New Zealand. They're pretty hard to get.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I mean, here's where this is the stuff that I do. We import all these things. And so from a food compliance point of view, there's not a lot of places in New Zealand that kind of make these things for commercial so that you can use them. There's not that, like, there's people that make cherry and apple extracts for food applications. Not a lot anyway. So, that's good. What stage did you add it into the fermentation, or?
So this was at the end of fermentation, and yeah, pretty much fermented right out, pretty quickly actually, and just left to age on it for a while as well, probably around a couple of weeks.
So you didn't do anything to stop the fermentation? You just let it go?
Yeah, just let it go. Yeah, it pretty much yeah, all fermented out. It's the saison yeast is great for that. Yeah, it'll just pretty much ferment everything out.
You must,
That's
get,
cool.
you must get a gravity spike when you re-add the cherries. Is it how much does the gravity go up?
Didn't really measure it to be honest, but it probably would have been a couple plateau or something. Yeah.
Just cherries pasteurized before you put them in or something?
Yeah, so that's sort of the advantage from yeah, using some of the products from overseas. They're all aseptic, so you can just store it in the cool room and use it whenever, so it will last a couple of years.
It's one of the differences between like sour cherry and cherry. If you try to make a beer with sweet cherries, it doesn't taste that great because so many of the flavors are tied to the sugars and they just ferment out. You end up with marzipan-y real there as the sour cherries because a lot of the flavors aren't, they're bitter. They're not tied to the fermentable sugars. You get this lovely cherry flavor.
Mm-hmm.
For those of you who just joined, we're on the cherry sour.
Yeah, starting with the strongest. Well, I thought.
Yeah. So
It's a very nice beer, Jeff.
Bit of a question for the. I mean, I brew, but I'm not a brewer as such. So it finished out really low, but then the mouth finish on this is quite full. So what's causing that? Is it the higher alcohol and stuff in it, or?
Yeah, well, it's like I said, it finished pretty dry.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Glycerol. Saison yeast throw glycerol, which is like a sweet, oily compound. So it gives it body.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of the key characters of saison yeast. So those of you coming to, I think there's a workshop that I run when we come out of lockdown, which is on saisons. And one of the things I've actually got is some, food grade glycerol, and we'll actually spike a few things so you can actually get an idea of what that character is, because it's quite distinct to saisons. That means that we end up with these lovely dry beers, but they're still not stripped or dry. They've got that sort of, there's a body to them, and that's from the glycerol.
Well, there you go. Thank you.
Tasty, tasty.
And so what's the grain bill behind it then? I mean, we're not trying to steal your recipe, but the basics of what you got behind it.
It's pretty simple. So yeah, obviously some Pilsner malt. In this case it's Gladfields. I don't, even though maybe some of the malts could be better, I try to use fresh malt because I've had the experience from trying to get malt from overseas, and it's just way too old and doesn't taste as good. So I only used for base malts anyway, stuff that's grown in New Zealand. So yeah, this is Gladfield Pilsner malt. There's about 25% wheat in it, and a bit of Gladiator to give a little bit of body. And yeah, that's it. Nice and simple, really.
Just want to say,
It's a lovely beer.
yeah, it's a great start to the evening. It's quite a lovely beer.
Very nicely balanced, actually. The balance you got on the fruit is just absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
This is, how many versions of this one have you done? Because I've had this before and it's quite a bit different. Have you is this sort of been sort of saying that, this isn't the same batch you sort of had about a year ago, is it?
Yeah,
Or is
it is. It's probably aged a little bit.
Yeah. It's changed a lot. Yeah. I was
Yeah,
curious as to
well,
what you did.
The great thing with using fruits such as sour cherries, they act as antioxidants, so they're going to scavenge up all the oxygen. So yeah, these beers will last quite a while. So yeah, we put a lengthy date on the best before date.
Mine isn't.
Bloody
There's a
gone.
hole in the bottom of the glass.
It might be the odd one that might have a little bit more cherry puree than others. If you hit the bottom of the tank, maybe.
It's amazing how this beer's aged. It's, but for me, it's changed a lot, and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
So
Distinctly
this was-
saison character with a lovely, lovely cherry overtone. It really is. It's delicious.
And what are you doing for the hopping regime? I guess you're lower than 25 IBUs sort of thing.
Yeah, so there is just a token little bit of Pacific Jade in the at the boil stage, and that was it.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Well, you don't want too much hops coming through on the cherry. I think that wouldn't probably go too well. But yeah, for other saisons that I make, I actually do like dry hopping them. So yeah, no, I quite love hops on a saison. I see McLeod's has just made one recently, so that's pretty damn good if you haven't had that.
Right.
Yeah, +1 here. This is beautiful. Really peppery. I'm getting a lot of peppery stuff from it. Really nice.
Do you still make that sage saison you used to bring to club meetings?
Planning on redoing that again, but yeah, we'll just need to get all the herbs sorted out.
It was a bit more polarizing, that one, wasn't it?
Yeah, you either loved it or you hated that one, that's for sure.
Oh.
Well, this one's probably polarizing to some as well.
Oh, I thought it was really good.
No, I don't think it's too many that would disagree with this one. This is beautiful.
Is
So,
it
I must
a
have said, what yeast did you use in this?
Good question. Oh, yeah.
I was just about to ask if
So
it was
this
a
one, I
French
try
saison.
to actually use dry yeast as much as possible these days, just because yeah, getting hold of stuff from overseas is yeah, real difficult, and even stuff from the the home brew shops and trying to scale it up. Sometimes that's hit and miss as well. So yeah, I try to use dry yeast, and this one was the Mangrove Jack's French saison, which is the first time I tried it, and yeah, I thought it worked pretty well actually. Might not be quite as estery as some of the other yeasts possibly, but that's sort of what I wanted in this beer. I didn't want it too high on esters, and the fermentation temperature wasn't too high either. It was at around 22 degrees. So yeah, there's probably not as quite as much esters in there as you could get on a saison.
Is this your first brew of this, Jeff?
Yes, it is. Yeah. So it's now, I don't know, must be over a year old now.
Oh, yeah. And did you can it all, or do you keep a bunch on a bright tank and then can it when you need it?
No. So it just all got canned. As I was saying to David, yeah, it seems to saisons will age quite nicely in the can. They're not really going to oxidize because of, well, if you've got the sour cherry in the air, it acts as a oxygen scavenger. So yeah, so I'd expect that beer to be good for another year as well.
Excellent. I might have missed it right at the start. I was a bit late, but did anyone ask where the easiest place to get sour cherries is from?
Yeah, Germany in puree form, unless you know a farmer down south, Otago way, that can do you a deal, but they're normally very, very expensive in New Zealand.
So is it
competing with dog biscuits?
So is this like a puree from Germany then?
Yeah.
I'll have a yarn to my aunt and uncle and see if they know anybody. They're down there. They've got an orchard.
Yeah, obviously, sour cherries are great if you're home brewing. You only got 20 litres, but if you're doing 300 or even 1,000 litres, you're going to need a lot. So it's probably not economical to make a batch with them.
And also, like, how do you calculate the amount of fruit, like going puree versus normal fruit?
I guess it's a little bit sort of, well, you can sort of work out the bricks of the, they normally supply you the bricks of the puree. So you have a sort of a reasonable idea. But yeah, I just pretty much chuck the old 20 kilos into about 350 litres, which is sort of what Ulrich recommended, who was the supplier of it.
The good thing about purees is they're not concentrates. So like, at the end of the day, what you're doing is subtracting, like, say, pit weight and stuff like that. That's almost the weight in fruit.
I thought a lot of the character actually comes with cherries, actually comes from the pip itself.
Yeah, but that's that marzipan-y flavour, isn't it? The pips.
Yeah.
Which I don't.
And you don't want that without acid. Like, that flavour works really well. And it's sour. It's not so nice to know, not sour.
Yeah. So you just get a heads up. What are we doing next, Jeff, for us?
Yeah, so now we'll move on to the lower strength beer, the Archilles XPA.
Sit here all day, this one.
We haven't finished this one. I'm just worried that.
No, we're just prepping. I'm
worried. You've got a couple of sneaky sort of intermission beers. So in between these beers,
you must be charging through them, Reese.
I think Reese is finished.
So maybe while we're finishing up our beers, we can sing Brendan happy birthday.
Oh,
hey!
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I'm really pleased that no one actually started it.
Someone's going to start it now, obviously.
Come on, then.
Sorry, guys. We're going to go. We'll catch you later on.
It's okay. I've got mute. Everyone put it on and sing happy birthday. Yeah. Finish your beer.
Just listen.
You'll Billy the baritone. Crikey, mate, you got some Barry White genes in you.
Just yeah, I think that Barry White's not fit for mood in this one here. I mean, unless we're going to start sort of getting closer and we're leveled. Yeah, where is that? John, what's that background of, man?
Oh, I don't know. I just found that on Google.
No, that's that bar you built into your house, mate, isn't it?
In my dreams.
Yeah, his garage is the TARDIS.
I'll send it to you guys.
Oh my God. Thank you, Dave. It's an appropriate background.
A specialty.
And
But it'd be a bit awkward if I blow him a kiss, so they're far better.
It's like what he can get. Happy birthday, brother.
I reckon there's like more cherry in this, because I tried this when you first canned it, and I reckon like the cherry is more pronounced now. Have you found that, or has it just been too long since I've tried it?
No, even I think so too. Even since the start of the year.
Yeah.
That would be strange. The flavour getting more pronounced. I mean, the flavours would change, but more pronounced.
I thought it was I looked at my notes for this and there was a lot more Easter dominant when I first tried it, a lot more residual sweetness in it too. It's dried out a lot more, I think, and the esters have dropped back and that sort of opened up the fruit.
Oh, mate, yeah. If it's dried out, then maybe, yeah. I reckon it's pretty damn good.
It's fantastic. Yeah.
Hey, Jeff, just on this, when you put it in the cans, you put the whole batch in cans at one time, but then can you decide just based on how the beer is doing, when you put the label and the expiry date on it, can you kind of just keep doing that, keep extending it or anything, or like?
In this case, we knew it was a Saison and we knew it had cherry in it, so yeah, we put a couple years on it.
Oh, because you did that when you canned it immediately.
Yeah. So as you can see, it's on the actually the best before date I think got stamped on the bottom of the can. It's not very well.
Yeah,
Probably
no, exactly. 2022.
22.
It's got 22
right across the ridge.
Yeah. You probably need to have a best after date. Wait 12 months and then drink it. Yeah.
Well, some beers are like that, that's for sure.
Yeah.
The next one's the XPA, the Keeley's.
Yeah. So this second beer is the Ackley's XPA.
Ackley's.
Are we ready to move on, or people want to save it, or you can always reserve and then come back?
It's bloody warm by the time we finish another litre and a half of the other guys.
Yeah, I mean, Reese, we know you've been ready for about a good sort of 20-35 minutes, but just let the slow pokes catch up.
No, I'm splitting my batch, you see. Mine are secretly arriving on the doorstep, and a squirrel takes them away down to Ben.
He's got a co-pilot.
Okay.
He's drinking responsibly.
Well, as long as you're following those L3 lockdown requirements, you should be fine.
Yeah.
And don't touch the squirrels; they bite.
Yeah.
It's the
I'm just going
badgers
to
you gotta
stick
watch
my
out
bubble
for.
and drink irresponsibly.
Amen.
Well, some level 3 rules tonight. I'm pouring half the beer and then putting it on my doorstep, and the neighbour's picking it up, so he's tasting them as well, Jeff.
So, Jeff, you want to tell us about the surprise hops in the boxes there? We'll start with tell us what the both are, and then we'll go into one of them now, and then we can talk about the other one later on.
Oh, well, it's sort of based on the last beer that we're trying, so maybe we'll just leave it till then.
Okay.
Yeah, and we'll get on. So we move on to the Ackley's, I think.
Yeah. Sure.
Just while everyone is pouring and gathering and collecting, I have to say the artwork is stunning. Are you the designer behind it, or have you got a group of rather smart marketing people helping you make your beers stand out on shelves?
Yeah, so I cannot take any credit for the artwork.
You really should.
of course, arrange it on the labels and everything, but yeah, the artwork itself, we license out from various people. We've got a Russian, an American, and we contract the odd piece out on Fiverr from artists that I quite like as well. So yeah, we got a whole range of sources. And the best thing is, yeah, we haven't got no money to pay for, sort of.
That's what Fiverr's
artwork. So we're sort of somewhere around $50 to $100 per label.
That's what that sort of websites are great for. They're terrible for illustrators who work in New Zealand.
Yeah,
but they're really good for people who like don't have a huge budget and want to do something that really looks professional, because you can get some amazing stuff from parts of the world where the exchange rate's not good for them. Because
there's some great Russian artists. So the logo, that was done by a Russian. So yeah, he did a whole lot of black and white hand drawn artwork for us.
You could probably get that like on Fiverr for $200, whereas it'd be at least $2,000 here for one can. Yeah, because it's pretty good stuff.
Yeah,
actually, it's one thing Jeff, I have heard people comment on a hell of a lot. People have been to your tap room is the cards on the tasting trays.
Yeah,
man, number of times I've heard people talking about that. That's I think it's really resonated. It's a great idea.
I literally was tidying up my shelves the other week and I found the cards from my last visit.
Yeah, lots of people touched them.
Well, okay, they were. I think we visited on a day where there was a bit of a show day, and there was just sort of stacks of them lying around. So it wasn't like we sort of, climbed behind the desks to gather them. But yeah, no, they're just outstanding. The card's such a cool idea.
Yeah, well, the main driver behind them was just to have something on those tasting paddles rather than a docket with a list of the beers on them that gets totally mixed up. So we definitely don't get too many mix-ups, that's for sure. Very rarely will we get a mix-up.
It's a wicked point of difference, and it's really cool. But it's funny. I mean, I always thought it was interesting. It's awesome how often I've heard people talking about it.
Yeah, and it sort of goes with our theme as well. I know not everybody's into it, but the people that are, they learn a little tale on the side about Archiles or whatever. Yeah.
Wait, you're telling me you're getting complaints about the cards?
No.
Oh, okay. It's a fantastic thing. I would, yeah, it would concern me if people are sitting there looking at these things going, this is ridiculous. It's just such a really cool idea, and just something that sort of sets you guys apart from other.
It works so much better than having the numbers.
Yeah, totally.
And what did I order here and all the rest of it. It's a simple way of by the time you get to the end of your platter after drinking your 5-7% beers, you can actually remember what the last one is.
Yeah, and take it home with you.
Yeah,
yes.
It's those 1%ers that make the difference. That adds to the experience.
Yeah.
So Jeff, are we supposed to be pilfering the cards or not?
Yeah, actually, we got tons of them. So
I don't have to mail them back.
So guys, you don't have to pretend you didn't take them now.
People can take them away. That's not a problem.
In all fairness, I thought I had to click the whole set.
Not allowed to, and then they're like trying to sneak them without anyone noticing.
Have you got any jokers?
Yeah.
Only you.
No, we haven't cultivated cards yet. But...
Alrighty, should we move on to the XPA?
I was going to say, Scotty, you trying to tell us something?
Hey Jeff, where do you get your cans canned? Is that crafted canners?
Yeah, so one of the reasons why we're drinking out of 750ml bottles in this tasting is that we use crafty canners, and he needs a certain volume, and it's very difficult to sort of organize that. So we really sort of need to look into getting a small cannery ourselves. Yeah, definitely.
So was this a 400 litre batch, or did you do a double batch on it?
It was a about a 350 litre batch. Yeah, we had some. It wasn't all cans. There was a keg as well, but yeah, most of it went into the cans.
Now, look, we may have followed Reese on this one and jumped the gun. We're about halfway through these this XPA, and holy hell, it is stunning. So if we need to, we need to slow it down, we'll come back in 5.
Time to move on.
The aroma on it.
Yeah, I
is just
talk about
like,
the XPA.
Yeah, it's bloody good.
As soon as I open the bottle, you just get this aroma like smash out of it. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's over the head a bit.
So yeah, I guess these various definitions of a XPA. My definition is extra hops rather than extra pale. So yeah, this is very heavily hopped. Pretty much this is really sort of at IPA levels. And the other key thing with this beer is I make it fairly dry as well. So it's quite a low mash temperature. The final gravity is quite low, somewhere around 1.007. Just to make it sort of, drier and more easier to drink, I find.
What is cracking in it, man? I mean, why would you bother making brewed IPAs when you can make an XPA like this?
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah, like I said, there's a lot of hops in this. I'll just, for those people that are probably interested, these Rewaka and Waiti in the whirlpool of this one, about 5 grams per litre. And then on the dry hop, this one's got Rewaka, Nelson Sauvin, and Cryo Mosaic. So yeah, very tropical. It's probably got a little bit of dankness from the Rewaka and the Mosaic. The Nelson Sauvin was a little bit lower, so you probably wouldn't get too much cat pee.
So why the cryo version of the Mosaic?
I try to use cryo hops quite often in terms of efficiency. Our brewery's quite, our batches are quite small, so any way that we can improve the efficiency by not absorbing so much beer on the dry hop.
Right.
And also you don't get quite as much astringency coming through as well from massive dry hopping. So yeah, I love the Mosaic cryo hops especially. I use quite a lot of that.
Another very nice beer, Jeff.
I think Mosaic Cryo too has got quite a different flavour than Mosaic Hop. Like it's one of the ones where I think there's probably more difference between cryo and pellet, which is not a bad thing.
Jeff, can I ask, you said in the dry hop you had Rewaka, Nelson Sauvin and the Cryo Mosaic. What sort of percentages of each did you have in there?
Let's see. The Nelson Sauvin was quite low. It was around 20%. And the Rewaka and Cryo Mosaic around 30% each.
Okay, thanks for that. I got some of this from you 3 or 4 weeks ago, and I'm not familiar with Rewaka. I am with Nelson Sauvin a little bit, not the Cryo Mosaic. And I made some tasting notes, and I had a nice grassy straw cat pea hop forward clear beer. Nelson Sauvin or Rewaka hops, question mark. So I kind of got it right, and it was a bit of guesswork, but it's a bloody nice beer, and I was intrigued by the hops, so that gives me something to try. I've just got some Waiti, so can you tell me a little bit more about the Waiti? What do you like about that?
Okay, so I only use Waiti in the whirlpool.
Yep.
And that's mainly because it's a very low on the alpha acids. So I'm not getting so much bitterness coming through. So in the whirlpool, because I can only get it down to about 93, 94 degrees, within a reasonable time. I use low alpha hops so that I don't get, because I put quite a lot of hops into the whirlpool, I don't get quite as much bitterness coming through because of that.
Is that at that temperature?
Yeah. I mean, that's where I pretty much get all my bittering from in my beers, from the whirlpool.
Right. So you haven't used any full boil hops in this at all?
Oh, just a token bit of Pacific Jade at the beginning, but we're only talking about 5 to 10 IBUs.
Okay.
So, hey, Jeff, where's the weakness in this? Given the name Achilles, I don't detect any at the moment.
Arrows.
Yeah.
You're the weakness.
Maybe after 4 or 5 of them, you might be detecting a somewhere.
Yeah, yeah.
It could be your
It may not
bladder.
be in the beer though. Yeah.
Do a session, drink a few, then tell us where the weakness is.
Yeah, tomorrow morning. Maybe.
Yeah, so I guess from an XPA point of view, it's, what was it, 5.6? I guess the booze level's a bit higher than some.
In terms of the alcohol, yeah, I don't know. I think anywhere between 4.5 and 5.5 is pretty normal these days, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to define though. Like when we had to do that style, I mean, Duncan and I did a style guide for the WBC comp we did it a while ago, and it was fascinating researching it because for some people just say like it's extra light. For some people, sort of see it almost like a session IPA. Others will, no, it's a pale ale that's on steroids, but doesn't necessarily have the bitterness of an IPA, and it throws so many different sort of directions. So, yeah.
Well, it becomes the barn door BJCP style, doesn't it? Well,
that's the thing. We actually had to exclude a couple of paths. Otherwise, you just couldn't get anything cohesive. But
yeah, well, the trouble with this is it's probably too sessionable at 5.6 because again, it's another very tasty brew.
Yeah, I don't see that as a problem.
Right in the slot. Yeah, this fits slap bang in the style guideline that we wrote. I mean, this to me is actually what probably a session IPA should be. When you're sort of talking 4 to 6, reasonably light in body, not just as full on. That big sort of malt character that sits there and sits under the structure of an IPA. I actually think it's really nice. What's the base malt you used in this, Jeff? Did you use just a single base malt, or did you do a concoction?
Yeah, so this one was just straight Gladfield Pilsner malt and a bit of Gladiator. That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, you just want the hops to shine through. So yeah, just a clean Pilsner malt. That's all you know.
So I thought it had Pilsner malt in it, but that's lovely. It gives that lovely kind of almost like tea-like sort of tannic dryness on the finish when it's because you sort of fermented it through, which I think plays really well with the hops. It's yum.
And yeast-wise, what are you doing there?
Most of my IPAs use USO5.
Oh, really? It doesn't taste like a USO5 beer at all.
That's because it's got a shitload of hops.
What temp are you running a USO5 at? If you don't mind us asking.
Yeah, that's pretty standard, around 17 or 18 degrees.
Super drinkable.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with USO5 when it's happy. There's a lot of big brews that run USO5 that you wouldn't think do. Just some people struggle with it, other people it loves them, and you find a yeast that likes you.
Yeah, USO5 can be a little bit temperamental, but with dried yeast and with my system, I haven't had too many issues with it. you got to do quite a good diastole rest on it. So is the only sort of minor issue with USO5 I found. But otherwise, yeah.
So how high are you driving that temp then?
For the diastole rest, 21 degrees.
Oh, so it's a fair hike from 18 then.
Yeah.
And then how long are you doing that for? You're making it sound like it's longer than normal.
Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe it is. Probably 3. Well, actually, I start quite early. So it's probably 4 or 5 days.
Oh, yeah, that's decent.
So four or 5 days in, or 4 or 5 days long?
Yeah, but I start, there'll be about 20 gravity points when I chuck on the diastole rest. So that's why it's 4 or 5 days. Yeah.
Right.
How
Sort of
do you-
halfway through.
How do you coordinate your diastole rest and your dry hopping? Kind of what kind of do you do it as you're heating up, or?
Dry hopping normally is actually, during the diastole rest at the tail end of it.
Okay.
At the very tail end of it. I pretty much always dry hop on while there's still a little bit of activity so that the oxygen can be scavenged up.
Yeah. It's a very nice beer.
I also like the fact that you do sort of, wind that Nelson back a little bit, because it's sort of, it gives a bit more balance rather than just straight Nelson.
Yeah, some people, don't like Nelson Sauvin. I'm a big fan of it, but it can be quite, some people absolutely hate it.
Oh, I mean, that Nelson still punches through. Don't get me wrong.
It does, yeah.
But it's just nice. I mean, like the first thing I smelled when I got the room, I was like, that was just smack on Nelson. But it's still nicely balanced.
Yeah, I think the hops coming through more would be probably the Mosaic and the Rewalker in that. There's probably just a touch of Nelson Sauvin coming through, I would suspect.
Yeah, I think William's meaning when you very first take the lid off.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you did get it.
Their first aroma was Nelson, and then that sort of, as you say, it goes a little bit more Rewalker, a little bit more.
Yeah, I got the same.
Yeah. As you drink it, you're getting more and more of the Mosaic actually.
As it warms up, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely gets fruitier as you warm it up. Nice.
Had a lot of beers though, where you've had just a little bit of Nelson, and it almost acts a bit like a beer salt. It kind of gives because it's got that sort of real kind of green freshness to it, and especially using some of those sort of jammy sweet hop like Citra Mosaic and stuff like that. Nelson can be quite nice in terms of just a little bit, just to take that kind of sweetness, jamminess, give the beer a bit of. I mean, it's almost like a bit like a beer salt.
Did anyone bring any snacks to have with their tasting?
I've got dinner waiting for me.
Yeah, one snack beer to have with another snack beer.
Yeah, well, it's not like we can pass them around.
I just thought that your pork scratchings would go really well with this.
Well, yeah, I could have had a food and beer match, couldn't I?
Well, I got to say, I'm a bit disappointed. We don't have a bingo sheet. Are we the only ones that didn't get the bingo card with everything? I've got Nelson, we've got Savon so far. I mean, perfect. Would have been good to have a now.
Maybe next tasting we
can. Definitely.
Go.
Yeah, I just had some nice birthday cake. That was my my snack.
Oh yes.
Finally got a haircut there, Brendan. About time.
That was a shocker.
Haircut, or is it just falling out?
No, it was a cut.
Bit of column A, bit of column B.
Yeah. Bit of everything.
All I can say is treasure your hair while you have it.
Yeah.
How did you get the haircut? Because of the shine, Sean.
Just falls
What's
out.
that? Oh, no, I'm growing this out. Apparently, so the ladies love a bit of long hair.
You can do the full scarlet.
Well, it's fallen down to your chin, as far as I can see.
No comment. This is growing up from the chest. It's
okay.
a grooming technique. I brush up.
Oh, brush up.
It's going both ways.
That's what you do when you can't grow it up.
It only goes one way, and it's towards my socks.
That's the Mangora comb up.
So, following that theory, where does the hair on your chest come from?
My back. It wraps around. Sorry, it's maybe too much. I've crossed the line somewhere. I'll see myself.
Couple of balls.
Well, enough of that. Back to the beer.
Scrotum chin.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Back to the beer.
Yeah.
And we're not even on the strong beer yet. Yeah.
Oh, well, you know, if you can't laugh at yourself, you might be missing the joke of the century.
Yeah.
Hang on. Guys, are you saying I am the joke of the century? Because that's what my wife's telling me.
Oh, no, I was saying, I was talking about myself.
A guy I work at, similar to you, bro, they call him Mudguard, dining on the top and shitting underneath.
What was that again?
They call him Mudguard, dining on the top and shitting underneath.
Oh, that's funny.
Back to the beer. Yes.
All right, so we've talked about the hops, we talked about the yeast, the ferment. What else we got to discuss on this beer?
The clarity, it's amazingly clear. Is that just conditioning?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
The next one.
Just on that clarity, I mean, that is a brilliant clarity for something that actually has a lot of hops. Like, are you actually doing filtering or just time or?
Believe it or not, it's taken me quite a while to work this out, but this is unfiltered and it's in a uni tank. So I don't even have a bright tank.
Oh, that's a good
You running any finding? You running any post fermentation findings or anything in it, or?
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
Are you using silicon dioxide or polycarbonate?
It's one of the seaweed mixes.
Okay.
So homebrewers, we have
I use a couple of
homebrewers, we use
findings in the
gelatin.
kettle as well.
Yeah. I do use gelatin quite often as a homebrewer. Makes a nice difference to the clarity, to the look.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we thought we'd stay away from the gelatin.
Vegans don't like it.
Things.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
They seem to be happy with seaweed, so
Yeah. Gelatin can strip hops though too, because it's the same polarity as the hops.
Yeah, for sure.
Polarity of hops.
Yeah.
Does the seaweed not sort of strip much of the hop, or do you notice that it strips any hops, or is it just nothing at all?
not by experience, but
yeah, it seems pretty hoppy.
It's very.
Can you get that? Can you get that seaweed mix as at a homebrew scale, or would you have to talk to somebody nice at a brewery to find it?
Just thinking, it's probably called something else, just like Clarity Firm and all those other things.
Clarity Firm's an enzyme base, but
yeah.
Isinglass. If it was anyone.
Well, actually, there is a
Isinglass
Clarity
is good.
Firm in this as well.
Yeah. Isinglass is really good. The only thing I found about it is that isinglass will denature, and you don't know that it's denatured until you use it. So you buy a bottle of it and you're using it, and all of a sudden you'll use it in a beer and it doesn't clear. And it'll be about halfway through a bottle. For me, the best at a homebrew level, the best clarifying agent I came across was the Williams Warn one, silicon dioxide, colloidal silicon dioxide. And that works amazingly well, but you've got to be able to get your beer really cold for it to work. Because it's a flocculation agent. It works a different way to a lot of the other ones. But if you can get your beer down to like 1 or 2 C, and then you drop the in it, and it doesn't strip up character, it just pulls out all the proteins.
I think brewers could do their own version of that, which has got the same active ingredients. They do their own
it's
bottle.
colloidal silicon dioxide, and I mean whatever's got that. But I mean, I know the source of the Williams Warm one, it's a good source, and you use so little of it, and it doesn't denature. So, I mean, you buy a bottle for like $40, and I mean, hell, I mean, it'll last you 20, 30 brews easy.
Robert, I know you've got an opinion on this kind of stuff with the clarifiers.
I just don't use it. I try to keep it just natural as anything. I don't want to use any silicone or gelatin or anything, stuff like that.
What's the reasoning behind that?
I just don't like adding anything into the beer that I don't need to. Yeah, German, man. German. Fucking Reinheitsgebot. Reinheitsgebot, motherfucker.
Apparently that's
You lost the war.
And that's I don't like also use any of these fermentation enzymes and stuff like that. I don't know. It's just my preference, just to keep it as much straight.
That's good.
What it is.
All those clarifiers do is just speed up time. I mean, if you're happy to wait another week, and especially if you can get your stuff really cold and crash it hard, you can get really clear beer. I mean, the main reason breweries filter is it saves them 2 or 3 weeks of conditioning time, and tank time is money.
But also the times have changed. It used to be clarity was a measurement of a quality beer, where that's completely gone now. It doesn't matter.
Just go out the window.
It depends. I mean, it depends like the saison and things like that you want to age. You do want to get a reasonable clarity in it, because I mean, a lot of the stuff that they filter out are also the stuff that actually affects your beer stability over time. If you're drinking it within 2 or 3 months, who cares? But if it's a beer you're going to keep for 6 months, you actually want to be a little bit focused on, how much residual sediment and how much protein's actually in your beer, because those are all your stalling agents. I totally agree with you. It's nice. One of the best things that Hazy's have done is cure everybody of their fixation with beer had to be
to emphasize everything needs to be clear. Yeah.
Mind you, shit, these days when you get a beer that is just radiant clear, it's a thing of beauty.
Especially if it's
it depends on the style as well. I bring a lot of.
No, I just think it's a thing of beauty.
I mean, that XPA, I was really impressed by how crystal clear that was, because so often, I mean, myself and I homebrew, and I put a lot of hops in. I mean, you do get a bit of haze there, and that is that's beautiful, but it's still got a massive hop. So one thing I've always been concerned about is, if I filter, do I drop that hop aroma? But that's got both. So well done, Jeff.
Yeah,
I seriously want to filter at a homebrew level.
Another thing I do is that's probably sitting in the tank for a couple of weeks as well. So
it's conditioning as well.
Yeah, so it's conditioning as well.
Yeah.
It depends on the style too. I mean, I brew a lot of English bitters and stuff. They have to be clear. So I do use, if I need to rush it, I do use gelatin. It makes a massive difference. It's just the beauty of it.
I mean, I tried it a couple of times. I have used gelatin once, and it's just it was just another step, another risk of infection. It's like, oh, fuck it. I don't need to do this shit.
Pretty hard to put gelatin in without introducing oxygen as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I've got a pressure fermenter, the firm Zelos. So I just purge it again afterwards with CO2. Yeah, it's okay. Never had an issue.
Guys, you're making hard work of it. During your transfer, that's when you put your gelatin in. So by the time the transfer is done, the gelatine's all mixed up. I used to do it for donkey's years. And I won it, the odd medal, plus or minus.
You mean like in the keg, is it? Ian, when you're kegging? Or bottling or whatever.
Yeah, when I racked it from the fermenter, I'd have gelatin in the bottom. So as the beer transferred, it was all mixed up.
Okay.
But were you racking to a secondary, or you're racking to your final keg?
No, I used to rack it into a secondary for 3 days, and then I'd bottle.
I'd take his word for it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
nugget of
I'm
gold.
thinking. I was thinking of doing it in the keg as well after racking to the keg.
You get a lot of sludge at the bottom of your keg then. one of the biggest things is that all those fighting agents, especially post-fermentation, work on, like, unless you can get your beer really cold, they don't work as well. Because all the things like chill haze and everything else like that, they're all particles that when the beer's warm, they're in solution. And it's when the beer's cold, they actually come out of solution. They precipitate into, to larger clumps, which is why it makes your beer cloudy and you can see it. So, the colder you can get your beer when you fine it, the more of the shit you want to get rid of actually precipitates and actually turns into solid form. And then you can actually pull it out. So, I mean, whether you're using gelatine, isinglass, silicon dioxide, polyclar, at the end of the day, the colder you can get your beer when you dose it, the better the impact it has on it. If you can get your beer down as close to zero as you can, the difference is extraordinary.
Yeah, I usually get it down to 2 before I put the gelatin in, so works well.
Gelatin's the exception. It will work at any temperature because it actually works by having gelatin's got a charge that attracts shit, but the problem is the charge it attracts is also the same charge that hop oils have, and that's why it strips.
All this clear beer talk's making me want to have a hazy.
I think so.
How was everybody going with these 750 ml tastings?
Oh, sweet as, bro.
rather nicely, the upper lips getting a little numb.
Did you want a 1.5, Kelly?
We noticed there was only one bottle.
It was a
in
3
the-
litre.
in the box.
Well, it's great because we don't just drive home.
I was thinking it's perfect pace.
I'm gonna inhale my fucking dinner after this though.
I'm thinking we might need a toilet break shortly, though.
I just had to put in a swift IPA in between. I ran out of the XPA.
Because it was so good.
Yeah.
We're on toilet break now while we go and get the
Yeah. A toilet break's a good idea. Please don't take your cameras with you.
Just mute as well, yeah.
And remember to wash your
That's
hands.
good. That's
You
well
can sing with your
gone.
microphone.
No, toilet break.
Righto.
Okay.
With the hazy, whoever did the email came out and said we'd be drinking Scadi or Scady, but I've got Syrinx.
Yeah, that's what I've got as well.
Yep, we've got that. Maybe there was a typo in the mix. Hang on, let's bring up the email.
Right.
No, that's.
No, I thought I saw that it was going to be Syrinx earlier on.
Sack
the editor.
Oh,
I
he's
forgot to mention at the beginning, guys. Yeah, no, Scadi, we have a Scadi Pale Ale at the moment, hazy pale ale, but Syrinx is our latest hazy IPA. So both of them are real beers, but today you've got Syrinx, so you're lucky.
Thank you, Jeff.
It's
Appreciate
like a
it.
week old, so freshly kegged.
Fantastic.
It just got to the loo, sorry.
No, I know.
Just so you guys know before you, yeah, trying to make things up. So anyway, so that's the story. He was going to mention that at the beginning. So yeah.
That's right. We were a few minutes.
Some of you would have
late,
had Scadi, I think, if anyone ordered that during lockdown.
That was
That one's
awesome.
pretty finished.
That was a great beer.
Yeah, but yeah, so yeah, Brendan,
Yeah.
you would have had it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they were just talking about the mix up between the Scadi and the Syrinx.
Oh, yeah, there was a mix up, yeah.
Yeah, what happened to the good looking one?
He's back.
Oh. Come back, Leah. He's a good looking
Hi,
one.
mate. I missed you the other day when
How
I
are
took the beersies off. Yeah, we just
The,
seen for ages.
I realize that there's a few people that we're still waiting on, but I am curious how have you guys handled the variety of lockdowns, the levels, the challenges you would have had with people and deliveries and so on and so forth. How is that? By the sounds of things, you've done very well. I'm hoping you've done very well, but I am curious about how you've just handled the last sort of year and a half worth of headaches.
Yeah, so when that first lockdown came, we had no online store. We were going, well, shit, we got nothing in cans. We got no choice. We're going to have to pressure full 750 ml plastic bottles and put them on the courier. But wait, the couriers were absolutely stuffed. So we also had to turn into a courier delivery service as well. So that's what we learned from the first lockdown. And I guess when the second lockdown came, yeah, we just slotted back into that. But yeah, especially on the North Shore, we've got sort of quite a few regulars. So yeah, no, we're not doing too badly, but we're quite small. So yeah, revenues, not huge. So yeah, we're pretty much doing all right. Yeah, we're surviving.
So it's the
unlike larger breweries, yeah.
It's the number 8 wire approach, Kiwi ingenuity. If a problem needs to be solved, we'll solve it. Doesn't matter how.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Handy that brewing is an essential industry too.
Yeah, we'd be pretty stuffed if it wasn't, wouldn't we?
Well, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've talked to Hugh out at Hopscotch out west, and he's been really not loving the nightmares. He's had a lot of hoops to jump through around boards and trusts and all sorts of stuff.
The trust just stuffs them every time.
Yeah, well, he's been fighting the council and MB as well, so he's really had a rough time.
Okay, I'm in the trust, so I need to go and talk to him when I can. Got to get down to level 2.
Give yourself 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah, and take some earplugs.
As long as someone is involved, it's okay.
You start Hugh off. Yeah.
In all fairness, he has a friendly face at the moment. Contactless purchasing. Sorry, I don't mean to. I'm not here plugging Hugh or Hopscotch, but yeah, it's good to hear that
he's a great craft beer.
Jeff, that you're doing really well over on the North Shore, because yeah, that's great news.
I think that actually that personalized delivery. So I know a few guys in here have made a few orders from you, and it's probably how we ended up doing your brew night tonight. That personalized delivery is probably what set you apart from everyone else in the industry, actually, and it probably actually gained you a lot of customers where they may not have known about the other ones. So well done.
Yeah, let's do it again. Let's do it again this Friday. Hey.
What are you doing tomorrow, Jeff? You feel like driving?
Doing the personalized Epic as well.
The positive side of this is yes, we do have had a lot of new people try our beers, which otherwise they probably would not have. Now there's a lot of people out there that may know that we exist, but the North Shore is a different world, so they don't venture across the bridge. But if we deliver the beers to them, at least we get them to try them, and hopefully they.
And at least you can make sure they're cold.
Yeah,
you can ensure the beer is cold rather than being warm going through a bloody courier company.
Well, yeah, although delivering to you guys, that was like a 4-hour mission. So, yeah, some of them might not have arrived cold.
Yeah, but some of us are glad to get out of the house.
Well, I mean, look, Ian was saying that, he ordered in the morning, got it in the afternoon. I mean, that's better than 1-hour couriers these days.
Yeah, I ordered late Friday night and it was there the next day. Bloody marvelous.
I saw
it's better than 4 days coming from Ubernorth. Bloody New Zealand couriers, friggin' hopeless.
Oh, derelict, you might not get it at all.
Pretty random.
I must say they were nicely chilled when we got them. They really were good.
Yeah, packaging your beers, Jeff, like within the pets, like is that sort of counter pressure or?
Yeah. So we've got a sort of a more simple, basic system, but similar to the beer spot. So yeah, CO2 purged and filled under pressure. We've got
really good, Nick.
We've got those intertaps, so you can just put the ball-up fitting on and straight in.
Well, especially that XPA, if you had any oxidation on that, it'll just strip all the top notes, and that was really tight. Had everything there. Nice job.
Yeah, we haven't quite exactly worked out how long it keeps in these bottles, but I'm pretty confident on 2 weeks, especially if they're kept in the fridge. But, you know, over summer, you know, I wouldn't go more than a couple of weeks. As well, and then we're relying on couriers, you know, delivering it in 1 and 2 days. So yeah, that's why we've pretty much not using couriers at all at the moment.
Yeah, that's when you put that Friday order in and it comes, gets to you on about Tuesday. You're like,
Yeah.
You're not for your pleasure.
35 degrees. Yeah.
You're not doing any more deliveries.
Ah. Yeah.
Well, I finally got my findings today. 6 weeks it took. Unfortunately, it was just at that time where they decided to put everything into a warehouse and forget about it until level 3.
Did I read it right, Jeff, that you're not doing any more deliveries after this, or did I just?
Yeah, so we need to sort of get back to brewing more. Yeah, so we're only delivering to the North Shore current, but we do have click and collect. So we're pretty much switching over to click and collect. Yeah.
So we can come to you for our beer. As long as there's a solution, that's not a problem.
Yeah. So what that says to me, Jeff, is that shit, the demand is so high, you need to be brewing. That's got to be a good thing.
Yeah, well, no, actually, filling these bottles takes twice as much time as we'd normally put in.
Oh, okay.
So, and delivering them, yeah, so we're doing double amount of time.
Yeah.
It's a public service.
Rather
It's an
At
essential
least we've got some
service.
income coming in.
You forgot that's an essential service.
So we can now drive, you know, we can cross the bridge, come to the other part of Auckland, to the North Shore, and get our beers. And if we are stopped, we're able to say, well, it's an essential service. We need to get good beer. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I'm going stir crazy. I need to drive.
Yeah, I think you're going to have people pounding at your door.
But you need to say.
Tell
that
me,
your
mate.
brother's a QC.
Would you do corny fills? Because
Yeah, and unfortunately, yeah, we've had to limit all our orders to 5 litres. We're just not producing enough beer at the moment. Yeah.
Well, that's probably where so you're going to get back to the brewing as well. Like, you know, your 350s, you got to keep those topped up because you can run out pretty quick, can't you?
Yeah, exactly.
The 5 litre iKeggers only.
Yeah. The 5 litre iKeggers with the ball off fittings, they connect straight onto the taps. Yeah, they're brilliant.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, I've got one. They're bloody handy, actually.
Hey, Jeff, we've got a wedding coming up in March. So what would be the chances if we dropped you off a couple of 19-litre kegs, you could fill them up?
Yeah, so like I was just saying, at the moment, yeah, we just don't have enough beer to fill cornies. We need to move to about 1,000
There's 32 people here
before we can do that.
Yeah, shut the camera off.
Okay, but I mean, I'm talking about next March.
I think he's setting you a challenge.
No, that was one of
You've got several months. Brew some beer, fill some kegs.
Thought you were a brewer, Kevin.
All going to be cherry so.
Yeah, I mean, Mike and I.
You want to brew it, yes. You want to brew it yourself because paying alcohol tax, our beer is really quite expensive because it's small batch as well. So yeah, no, for your wedding, I'll definitely brew yourself.
Yeah, well, Mike and I are already committed to doing a couple of kegs each. That's our nephew.
Yeah, I think you can take that as a compliment. They'd happily have your beer there.
Well, yeah, exactly.
I mean, that aroma on the XPA was probably more aroma than I've had on any other XPA. So well done.
I was going to ask about that. What you talked about your dry hop. When do you dry hop? I'm not sure you mentioned that.
Yeah, so that's near the end of fermentation. Pretty much it's pretty much done, but yeah, so right at the end. And the reason behind that is for the yeast to scavenge up any oxygen that's being introduced.
And are you calling it down to? You said before that you were adding it near, like when you were just on the end of the D rest. So you're still adding the hops quite warm, aren't you?
Yeah, correct. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's 20 degrees.
All right, shall we move on to the last beer?
Mm.
All right.
Yep.
Almost
Oh,
finished
Jeff,
it.
I thought you'd never ask.
I was thinking, shit, I'll pour another one.
Oh, you've lost an arm. Brent, you've lost an arm.
Jeff, have you ever
The
thought
shark
of
got
you thought of doing wort kits? You know, people can ferment their own. You know, talking about that, avoid the alcohol tax.
Yeah, not with my size brewery.
Yeah.
Maybe with 2,000 litres would be good. Yeah.
Yeah, once you upgrade, eh?
So what is the plan for for Mythica for growth? Have you got the capacity to grow within your existing location, or are you having to look for as you expand someone to help brew offsite as well?
Knock out the wall next door.
Yeah,
That
at the
tends to be
moment,
structural.
the site is actually big enough to handle, well, the people that have visited would have seen it's big enough to handle a decent sized brewery. You know, we're not talking Deep Creek size, but, you know, we're talking 1,000, possibly even a couple thousand litres.
Well, their old kit's still for sale, isn't it?
Yeah, and I don't want to be too much bigger than that, because as soon as you get bigger than that, you need lots of employees, and
Fair
yeah,
enough.
so I'm not really that keen to be too huge.
Lockdowns
But,
become a problem.
It's a different game then.
and all the sales, I absolutely hate sales, and yeah, it's a interesting place where you're drinking that, but
Yeah,
I hate the good thing is tonight, Jeff, is that
let's
your
move on to the
beer
beer.
sells itself. It's bloody good.
Right, maybe we'll mute the mics for a bit and let Jeff do some talking.
Sounds good.
All right, so yes, on to our final beer, the Syrinx Hazy IPA. Right, so the aim of this, well, I've done quite a few hazies actually, but now this might be somewhere around the 5th or 6th. But this one is all about trying out a new hop called Lotus. It's provided by Hopsteiner, which you don't you don't see that much around, and there's one supplier in New Zealand that supplies it commercially. But yeah, Hopsteiner sort of has, I guess, a range of hops that, you know, maybe aren't sort of quite well known and not used as much. So yeah, in this hazy, it's all about Lotus really. There's also some Mosaic and also some Eldorado in it. So yeah, so Lotus hops, they sounded quite interesting, so that's why I sort of gave them a try out. These are cryo, or I think Hopsteiner calls it lupulin, probably to get around some patent law or something, but they're essentially cryo hops, so double concentrated. And in this beer, it's about 45% Lotus, 30% Eldorado, and Mosaic at 25% in the dry hop. And I think in the Whirlpool, there was also 5 grams per litre Rewalker. But like I said, this was sort of to investigate on, you know, what Lotus would sort of give to a hazy. They say that it gives tropical, berry, candy, and vanilla. And I thought, oh, vanilla would be quite unusual. So I guess one question, who gets any vanilla?
Only once you've said it.
Yes. Now
Yeah,
now
that's
that
the
you
language,
mentioned it,
another.
yes, yes.
Kind
yes,
of
yes.
get that, kind of get that lactosey flavor. But yeah, I definitely got berries, melon, and I got strawberry, melon, and
Strawberry.
peach.
Yep.
Yeah, the strawberry. I was like, is this strawberry? I was like, yeah, it is. On a bit
For
of
the
bubble,
Eldorado, the watermelon, strawberry. Yeah.
yeah, and a bit of bubble gummy, but that's probably the mix them all. But yeah, wicked.
Yeah, so yeah, the bubblegum candy. Yeah, that's sort of one of the characters on it. So yeah, it's a little bit sort of unusual, I guess.
I get discernible vanilla, but vanilla has an impact of pulling other flavors out. Like vanilla enhances biscuit and enhances chocolate. Like quite a biscuity kind of chocolatey note just on the finish of this. And you put really, really low levels of vanilla in something before you get that vanilla flavor, and it actually helps pop other characters. Like it pulls out grain character. That's why they started using a milkshake IPAs.
So yeah, I don't know. Overall, yeah, it's definitely got some different characters for a hop. Yeah, and it's definitely a different hazy compared to a lot of the other hazies going around at the moment. Yeah.
Is this one of Hopsteiner's German experimentals, or?
Sorry, what was that?
Is one of Hopsteiner's German experimentals, or what's its origin?
Oh, so yeah, this is Lotus. Lotus.
Yeah.
Lotus Pro.
But is it American or German origin? Hop.
Oh, right. I see what you're saying.
Trying to find out.
Oh, it must be American actually, because I don't think the American hops would grow in Germany. They'd all die of disease. Well, a lot of them do anyway. So yeah, that's pretty sure. And I don't know whether the Germans are doing have got the facilities to do cryo yet. So yeah, pretty sure it's American grown.
Jeff, in my my little pack, I got some Trident hops, and I was looking at them. They're a Hopsteiner hops as well, but they look like they're a blend of about 3 different hops. Can you tell us about those?
So yeah, you're correct there. So I had some hops left over because I did I got Lotus and some Trident hops from Hopsteiner, and it wasn't sort of quite enough to do another beer. So I thought, well, yeah, why not, chuck it into this pack for you guys. So most of you would have got the Trident, as I had a bit more of that left over, but a few real lucky people would have got the Lotus cryo hops. So yeah, be interesting to get feedback, especially on the Trident, because I probably didn't quite, the one beer that I used it on, I probably didn't have the balance right, and I wasn't quite detecting exactly what that hop was contributing.
Which beer was that, Jeff?
Oh, it was the Vesna Session IPA, but it's not on.
Right. Hey Jeff, I'm going to do a smash with the Trident hop.
I was going to
do. Yeah. So
Gladfield American.
That's the problem with being, as a commercial environment. I prefer to do at least 2 to 3 hops in my IPAs. I hardly ever do a single hop. So, but great for homebrewers.
Yep. Hopefully, I can send you a bottle. Yeah. Hopefully, I can send you a bottle for you to try it out. Yeah.
Yeah. Well.
Personal delivery, just like you did for us.
Hopefully, in level 2, you can come on in.
All right.
Crack it open.
Yeah.
So, what's the profile of the Trident hop then?
So the Trident hop is a 3 hop blend. I don't know. Well, they're not going to tell you what it is. It could have some experimental varieties in it that aren't quite up to full scale yet. But I think, they say
they did something similar in the States with a few years back when they had a bit of a harvest issue and they did a blend thing. Dave will remember what it's called.
Wasn't Zythos?
Yes.
Falcon's
Flight?
Yes.
Yes, Zythos.
Yeah. So, I mean, you can go to the website, but the characters that they say is tropical, passion fruit, and citrus. So, yeah, sounds good to me.
But I thought there's pretty much a clear understanding about what the 3 hops were that were in that. It's like a proprietary blend, but it's not secret. But they have like I don't know. Some company has a trademark on the name, Trident, or I find it actually a bit confusing.
Well, Clive's posted in the chat here.
Say what?
Clive's posted in the chat the little snippet.
Right, but I don't think they mentioned the variety.
Yeah, they don't disclose what's in there.
It's become a bit of a trend at the moment because I mean people don't realize. I mean, like Jeff will talk about Kerry and like how long it takes to actually breed a hop. I mean, like hop breeding doesn't sort of just fall out of the air within a couple of years. I mean, like these guys are looking at decades of development program, and there's so much pressure.
Time scales.
Yeah, well, there's so much pressure now, like on the hop growers to bring out new hops, new flavors, and whatever. So a lot of them are going to blends. So rather than produce a new hop, they'll produce a hop blend. I mean, it's something you'll actually see that Harpy are doing in terms of freedom to get the government funding. They were supposed to brew or produce different hop cultivars, and they haven't at the target. So to try to mitigate it, they're throwing out blends, and a lot of the American hop growers are doing the same thing just to keep market interest. I think it's something you'll see a lot more over the next 2 or 3 years because the market's just thirsty for new hops. Yeah, but new hops are a 10, 15-year program.
Yeah, I remember using last year Falconer's Flight. That was
that was different. That was done as a
really good.
The guy Falconer was it was done actually as a fundraiser for him, and so that's sort of a different kind of. But I think people looked at that and thought, "Oh, that's a really good idea. We can marketing department got hold of it." And, I think it was Ken Falconer was a big advocate of stuff, and I think he died or something happened, and so Falconer's Flight was done as a way of raising money.
Really? Fires.
Oh, I never background of it. That's interesting.
Okay. What was the yeast in the hazy, Jeff?
Yeah, so we mainly use London Ale 3 from Brewers Co-op. And then we just culture it up.
Oh, so you're scaling up the yeast internally?
Yeah. It's just so hard to get hold of things these days. Even before COVID hit, so with all the supply chains. If we see some London Ale there, we'll just go down and get a couple packs and culture it up.
And you do that into like a 20-litre starter or something like that, is it? Or
about 10 litres, yeah.
And then are you reharvesting, like if you, from that batch, are you then reharvesting to then repitch with that?
Yeah, correct.
Someone's got a background TV on or something.
Not me.
No, it's not you.
I thought it was you, Reese.
No.
But yeah, what else about this beer? Other than the hops are like I said, quite unusual. It's not as I guess juicy and punchy as one of the previous hazy IPA that we did, for example, that was more sort of tropical and really in your face. But I guess this one's definitely more complex and it's got more things going on. And it's definitely different. So I guess there's some sort of niche for it, but yeah.
And just heaps, as it warms up. I mean, like it's almost a beer of 3 halves.
Can you tell us more about the girl? Does she ever run around kind of topless, with just kind of leather clad breasts or anything? Or tell me.
Yeah, well, that's the...
Wait.
I can remember.
When did we go from beers to topless ladies? I mean, don't there's any.
Talk about
only Rob can make that kind of segue.
The man, he's on a good path.
And
Okay.
that's pushing it. I mean, don't we fall asleep? What happened?
Goes
see where it's
X-rated
coming
at 10 p.m.
That's the privilege you have with these things, man. You got, these, what is, Lucy Lawless and the leather-clad women run around Mystic. These.
I thought he was going to ask about the hopping schedule. So
I thought that might have been
Oh, yeah,
an
sorry.
question too.
Hey, Robert, I used to go to school with Lucy Lawless.
Okay, I'll mute myself.
So,
What he wants to hop, isn't
yeah,
it?
we'll talk about the spear a little bit more. So most
Just to change the subject.
Yeah. So next time we have to do these packs with smaller amounts. Clearly.
No, I think next time
Higher alcohol. I think this is
more
perfect.
beers would be
spotlighted.
awesome.
Goody.
I could do the
Okay,
full day.
so on this beer, we actually do go quite heavily on the oats and malt. So this one's not quite as heavy as some, but it's about 15% wheat and 15% oats. The rest is pretty much just an American ale malt. We use, if people aren't aware of it yet, the Gladfield Big O malted oats, and the great thing there is it's got a husk on it. So yeah, you won't get a stuck mash.
Yeah.
So yeah, highly recommend that. And I've just heard actually yesterday they've got some chit oats, which are I'm not quite.
So they're
Is
doing
it spelled with
oats
a
chip
C
malt
or an
style.
S?
So that'll be. I'll be keen to try out some of those as well.
I heard as long as you just keep it like to a couple of percent, otherwise it gets a little green on the flavour.
Yeah, I've just started actually this one. Yeah, this one does have 4% chit wheat in it. I don't know whether you're getting any greenness on that, but it's under the sort of recommended dosage where you probably get too much.
Just remind me on the Big O, are those malted oats?
Yes, correct.
Malted, okay.
So already converted, ready to go. Just the only bad thing is they're a pain in the ass to mill. You got to change your setting like hell.
Make it smaller?
Yeah.
Or just run through twice?
You'll probably have to fine tune it and just word a warning, but yeah.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, it's definitely beats chucking a whole lot of flaked oats in there and just having it all gum up. Right, what else about this beer?
Does anybody else, does Big O mean anything to anyone else? Here, maybe Reese, it might. Big O notation.
Big O,
the Gladfield presentation that Gabby did, were you present for that one or no?
Oh no, it's just something in computer science as well. Big O notation.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Gabby made the comment that originally, there's some misunderstandings about the Big O.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. My wife's got a different version.
I think you could build a nice Mythica, girl clad in these.
We're back on this subject, are we?
I think you got a fan there, bud.
This is what happens when you have 750 mils. Hey, it goes dangerous.
This is where we don't look downstairs because Robert's probably wearing Lederhosen.
I was just going to ask, Robert, you are wearing pants, eh, mate?
Lederhosen, yeah.
Wait, Robert, isn't clearance enough for you?
We had to wear pants.
Sounds pretty amazing.
Yeah, guys.
The reason why Zoom's sort of like, hair up.
Sorry, there's lots of stuff coming there. What was the question?
There's another question for you. Back to Jeff.
Yeah, Jeff.
This is the problem when we've already drank 1.5 liters.
That's your fault, Jeff. Send it to us.
It's like, raise your hand if you have had more than what was in the container today. I think there's like, yeah, exactly. Exactly. I had to,
Where's that raise something?
Exactly.
At least 5
Got
litres
to
in.
have a warm up
Yeah.
calibration beer.
Exactly. It's a pre-game before the meeting.
So I think we've pretty much discussed most of what's going on this beer.
Just a quick question. In terms of your hazies, like I know a lot of people will sort of settle on a base malt of a hazy.
Okay,
And I'll sort of
Daniel,
change the hops. Are you actually changing your malt from
Can I
base to
try
batch?
a
Or you,
hazy?
you're keeping that pretty solid, or?
hey,
Sorry, I'm getting a.
hang on, I can't hear you, bro.
Kevin,
Kevin, you want to find yourself a mute button?
Kevin, shut up.
Yes.
Like, are you playing with your malt much, or you just kind of just change the hops on each batch?
So the base malt is normally either a Pilsner or an American ale malt. Normally American ale malt. So something fairly light. And like I said, pretty much the rest of it is oats and wheat.
Yeah. Are you often going 15%, or is that just a little bit higher in this batch, or?
Sometimes I take the oats up to 20. So yes, quite often. Actually, once I went all the way to 50. So mix of wheat and oats.
Yeah.
You can only do that with
You would have got stuck. I was going to say, you would have got.
It's pretty oaty.
Yeah.
But that seems to be a new fad. What, the oat cream IPAs?
Yeah, I've done one. I think I went to about 30%.
Yeah. So as probably a 25% oat, 25% wheat. So
yeah.
But yeah, that's probably the limit, I would suspect. Yeah, so that's pretty much that beer.
We saw a hand up there before from Chris Nelson.
Oh, excuse me if I've missed all the chat.
I think someone.
Chris actually put his hand up, but yeah.
I think someone said raise your hand if you've had more than what was in the box.
Oh, I see.
That would be me. No,
me too.
Yeah. Well, look, it's lockdown, right? For those that are in Auckland, basically every day is Saturday. Just don't tell work. They tend to not be very happy if you day drink, but yeah. What else are you gonna do? Go to the park? No.
You can day brew. You just need these little things called a little bit of a mouse wiggler. It just kind of wiggles it, so they think you just, the little green dot on your email is always there.
Yeah, because you got to make sure you're available, not busy or offline.
You can't brew every day.
Oh, the only downside at the moment is the weather's been kind of crap. So you go out, you get set up, and then it rains.
I'm set up well for that.
Good stuff.
I've only brewed once during the week. It was
called
not
Auckland.
It's called what? Sorry.
It's called Auckland.
It's the greatest place in the world.
Oh no, the weather, you can never predict it.
Don't need to. We're prepared. They're like Boy Scouts, Aucklanders, Boy Scouts.
There's absolutely
Always
no
be
point.
prepared.
Hey, Jeff, have you got any brown ales in the pipeline? I hear brown ale is the new hazy.
Really? Yeah. That's what I was sort of hoping when I started the brewery. Yeah, I was hoping that I could do sort of a few more, interesting and not so common styles. But we're still, because we sell 90% at the brewery, we're still dictated in some ways of what people drink.
Market driven, yeah.
So we made a black IPA, and we canned most of it, which probably was good. But still the more unusual styles, they're not sort of as productive as just making beer that people want to drink mainstream. So the answer
But
is
perhaps you can build a back catalogue of interesting can beers like the sour that we started with. If you can do some for the brewery for the immediate consumption, but then build up a library of
That wasn't a sour.
cunning beers.
A sour? No.
The problem there is you got like minimum quantities, and because of the volume that you're producing, that's kind of difficult, isn't it? Are you almost having to do double batches to get the volumes?
Yeah, that's correct. Well, the thing is, we do actually have a large fermenter. We purchased one that would be the upscale at 1,200 litres, but no way am I going to triple brew and do it because it would take me a day and a half. So,
Oh, Aaliyah could do the mid shift.
yeah, could she? Yeah. I'll ask her about that, but I
know what the answer would be.
Oh, Jesus. Sorry, I don't have a 10% beer to finish these off.
It's
Well,
his birthday.
As an unusual style, could I put forward a hazy stout?
Yes,
the
that's very
closest-
unusual.
Yep.
The closest I got was the hazy black IPA.
Belgian stouts rock. If you guys want a lovely little hidden style that really kicks ass, Belgian stouts.
I'm more interested in this hazy black IPA.
I know.
Can you tell us what the figure, the womanly figure would look like behind that, and the artwork and everything?
Brendan
How about
has
a
raised
hazy lager?
Okay, I was gonna say, Brendan raised a very good point, but I think he just hurt himself in that one. I'm curious about your the plans for shelf visibility. So, and to be honest, I discovered you guys. Ian's the brewer, I'm the drinker. I discovered you guys, Mythica, at a Liquorland many moons ago, and I thought to myself, "Holy hell, this is an interesting beer. This is great." What is? Do you have a plan for? I mean, you've mentioned that the majority of your current beer is, not so much over the counter, but filled and shipped and delivered. Have you got a plan to sort of ramp up that shelf visibility? Give the garages and the behemoths and so on and so forth a run for their money.
Yeah. So at the moment with our scale, we can only sell pretty much locally, but we do send. So we've done a little bit of canning, and we've sent it to a few of the sort of more mainstream liquor stores like Newmarket, Liquorland. So yeah, some of the better ones. But yeah, to really, I guess, distribute more. Yeah, it's going to be, we're going to have to upscale big time. At least 1,000 litres. So yeah, we won't be doing that anytime soon while COVID is hanging around. So yeah, but yeah, visibility, definitely an issue. We definitely need to can more products, so we'll be looking into a canner as high priority.
At the same time, it's actually quite interesting, that guy who did that presentation on what's the definition of a craft beer. Like in the USA, they have a craft beer definition, and one of the definitions is part you support the local community around you, and that's kind of what you're doing already. And so this whole thing about having to get bigger and do more and everything, if you can like support your local community and supply beer to the local people, you're happy, and fuck, that's awesome.
Yeah,
We'd like to make the money as well.
I was going to say, making money helps.
Yeah. It has to work for you. You have to make money, of course, but yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm just happy earning a reasonable income, but we still got a way to go to yet. I haven't been paid in like about 4 years, but yeah.
Oh, it was much better.
I'll see a proper brewer then.
When you lived in Mount Eden, Jeff, it was you were this side of the bridge, and it was a lot more local. So it's a shame that you had to defect and get a passport and go across the other side of the bridge.
Yeah, that was more about affordability with sites to put the brewery in. And now that I'm on the North Shore, actually, it's quite nice. Yeah, there's lots of
Boy races.
lots more trees. We've got toys in our backyard. But yeah,
Well,
it's a different world to lots
That's
of
good,
yours.
Reece. Do a little minibus from the city over. That's a lot easier than some of the other destinations that have been contemplated.
Yeah, well,
Just saying.
one of the things we talked about with Jeff is post this tasting, we should actually do a brewery tour and come
Yeah,
level
definitely.
level 2, level 1, or level 1.5, or what the hell it becomes.
But make sure it's a solid afternoon / you know, not a whistle stop.
A full weekend is a good. It's full weekend sounds good.
Oh, you want camping facilities, Sean?
No. I'll sleep in the car.
Maybe we can set up
or under a tank. One of the two.
We'll bring our sleeping bags.
See, what I was actually
thinking. I was on one of the bright vets.
Okay, Robert, enough about the ladies with the scantily clad. We're not. You've got to be
What we're
careful.
going to do is we'll get Robert and we'll put him in the corner with a bunch of the cards.
What's it called? Stallions or something?
You might need a wet mat, but you know.
Hey. Oh my God. What I was saying is I think
I'm going wherever Robert's.
Robert can
Going wherever
organise the
Robert's going tonight.
entertainment for the night.
Oh my God.
Anyway,
I'm going wherever Robert's going.
That sounds dangerous.
We should let Jeff do his finish up, and then we can
yeah.
stop the recording, and then
talk a lot of shit.
You can
Probably needs a bit of editing too, I think, with all the
my apologies.
few of those things.
So just one thing I'm curious.
It's funny balls and all. There's no editing.
In terms of the hoppiness,
anyway, so we'll let Jeff do his finish up, and then we'll go from there, right?
Sounds good.
Well, yeah. Well, thanks, guys, for coming along to Mythica Tasting, the very first virtual tasting I've ever done. I would have much rather have had you come to the tap room and, given you a tour, but I guess, that's how things eventuated. But yeah, keen to have you come in and we'll give you a tour someday in, I don't know, level 1.5 or 2.
In about a year.
Yeah, thank you, Jeff, for brewing some very fine beers.
Yeah, great. Cheers, mate.
Thank you.
Thoroughly enjoyed the drinks tonight.
Yeah. Cheers,
Thanks,
Jeff. Beautiful.
Couple of crackers, man. I'll give you
Excellent,
a lager
Jeff.
shout out too.
Really
Like
good.
You're the man, bro.
Grabbed
You're the
I
man.
grabbed a
Cheers, Rex.
bottle of his lager, which I had the other night, and it was damn fine. One of the better German style lagers I've had for a while, even though it was New Zealand hops. Yum.